All right. Hi, welcome back. Thank you for joining us on Crypto Art Week Asia. I'm Moon, also known as Mumu the Stan, and joining us today is Mario Klingemann. I hope I pronounced that correctly.
Very good. Thank you.
And Dominic Hook. So
Right.
I guess we can introduce ourselves. I'm Moon, also known as Mumu the Stan. I'm a crypto artist from Malaysia. And yeah, on to you, Mario.
I'm Mario Klingemann. As you said, I'm an artist as well. I've been exploring in many different avenues from generative art via AI art. And now, of course, I'm also in the crypto space. And yes, I've seen it all. So I've went through many different phases. And well, this is a good phase now.
Dominic, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Dom. I'm an artist from Singapore. In my day job, I work in advertising, and at night I do crypto art, and I work mostly on the Tezos blockchain, like with the Hic Et Nunc platform.
Speaking of Hikitnook, we're also joined by Raphael, who is the founder of Hikitnook. Raphael, can you introduce yourself?
Yes, nice to meet, to be here with each one of you for this conversation. My name is Rafael. I'm Brazilian. I'm a smart contract developer. I have some backgrounds in social science and in computer science, and we have been experimenting some decentralized applications, trying to make them accessible and experimenting with them, with some possible economies and trust formats, and trying to make accessible this technology, right? Trying to make accessible blockchain.
All right, thank you. I guess today we want to talk about how the blockchain and basically the idea of Web 3.0 is allowing us to be more imaginative in our creativity, and like it's kind of like, it's like a world wild web out there. It's a quote unquote the Wild West, even though we're here in the East. It's kind of like the old days of the internet when it was just starting. I think a lot of people, when they started playing with the blockchain or started minting on Hic Et Nunc, they said that this kind of reminds them of like, rediscovering the internet in the 90s. And before we started this talk, I asked everyone here what their age is, just to get, the rough idea of what kind of age of the internet you grew up in. And it turns out that Raphael here is the youngest, and Dominic and me are in our early 30s, and Mario has been around for a long time. So Mario, can you like share your thoughts on like how the blockchain nowadays compares to like your experience with like when the internet first arrived?
Yeah, I surely can. So it definitely has, as you said, kind of reminds me of a certain spirit that I think I encountered the very first time, really in the early 90s, when I had CompuServe. I don't know, that was kind of my first way to access the internet. And that was really 1992 or 93. And where I found my first community of digital creators, right? Like well, the community found itself, and that was a group around a Photoshop plugin called Filter Factory. So that was kind of where we shared via a mailing list little code snippets that like where we together discovered new possibilities of generating weird art with code within kind of like, so, and I think so some components which I recognized was that first you circle around a certain kind of, platform, you could say, and you have certain limitations based on the format, and but at the same time you have unlimited possibilities. And so with Hic Et Nunc, for example, we had this minimal platform, and at first kind of just visuals that you can upload via a minimal thing, but at the same time, super open and and expandable. I like that. Like it was not kind of closed in a way that people could add on things to it. And I think that is super important, that you are able to kind of like bring in talents from different, like people with different talents who can add little improvements to the thing, which suddenly turn into something like open up a new door, which, for example, happened when we got suddenly kind of codable, like how we call it, dynamic NFTs, or things where people could add code to it. And of course, that invited even more people in. And so, but I don't want to kind of cover it all now. And the second kind of thing that it reminds me of is the whole Flash community, which is kind of like I spent more than 10 years in. And that was for me also kind of that feeling that people come together just because, like, not to make money, but to enjoy working with it and exchanging knowledge and getting like getting together and building something bigger with it. And so this sense of sharing knowledge freely and admiring what other people do, learning from them. That is really what I'm seeing on Hic Et Nunc, and what I did not really see that much in the early, like in the Ether-based crypto scene, which was focused more on making money, right? So
I don't know. I think they did say like the very, very early days of Ethereum was also kind of like that, but I don't have the experience.
I arrived kind of last year in spring, where let's say that first, where it just started to, like, from sales of $100, suddenly it went into 10,000s and something. So I guess I missed the first 2 years when it was probably a similar spirit. But still, it was kind of driven by, like, let's say, theoretically, we can make money with it. I don't know. That was my impression.
Yeah, I guess so, because it was like the second, it was like after Bitcoin, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I guess, speaking of like how your experience during the early days of the internet in the 90s, I think back then the rules and like the social norms of like, or like how the internet works and what you can do or how you're supposed to do it haven't been written yet. So people are still exploring, right, at that time.
Well, I don't know. Should I go on? I don't know. I don't want to hog the microphone, but yes,
No.
I mean, that's what I always love, having a blank canvas, right?
Yeah.
So when the internet started, there were no rules at all, how to do it right and how to, let's say, okay, I mean, I'm old school, so I also say, like, I don't want to be told how to behave. I think I'm good enough. I know that's kind of tricky at some point, but I mean, I think I know how to behave and how to socialize. Nowadays, you have to have more rules, but having this thing that, there is first no boundaries, and that's always a very special phase, and unfortunately never lasts. The moment kind of, also it is a matter of size. So as long as you have village size communities where everybody knows everybody, and in some sense, at least kind of recognizes their name or so, you have a different kind of vibe than once things start exploding into city size communities. And then, different kind of dynamics start developing. So I always like the early phases when you still feel kind of like you kind of still know everything that's going on, and you have the power to set the directions in some way, or to try to push the thing into a certain direction and away from a different one, which at some point, once things get more complex, becomes harder to do. It's always this kind of systems where, yeah, at some point, well, it always ends up with the suits. I hope not with Hic Et Nunc.
Yeah.
I hope not. And I think that's where we are right now at this point in time. We're at that stage where a lot of things are unwritten. A lot of things are not, I wouldn't say set in stone about blockchain is forever, but like the rules are still being written, and it's our chance now. And it's because we're the early adopters, it's our responsibility to kind of like set the tone of like what this thing is going to be like, if we all come in here with bad intentions, obviously it can end up bad. But yeah, I want to open up the floor to Dominic and Raphael as well. Like, what are your like first experiences with the internet, and how did you start to get involved with the blockchain?
So my first experience with the internet was actually through gaming, online gaming more specifically. So like multiplayer games. I remember there was this game called Fantasy Star Online. It was on Dreamcast. I had to go to my friend's house and the four of us would play. And then I realized like, oh wow, it can connect to the internet. So I can play with someone from across the world. And that was really cool.
Did you have dial-up internet, or was it?
Dial-up.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, and when someone called, right, we would just disconnect. So like imagine fighting a boss and then my friend's mom had to use the phone.
I remember those days.
Yeah. Yeah. What was also cool about that game was that they had this form of like emojis where it's not just emoji, but you can use that chat box to make an artwork. So people started making their own like customized artwork from it.
Oh, you mean like ACCI?
Yeah, like
ACII?
SCR. Yeah, like at the start it was SCR. Then it became like quite funny, like a lot of rubbish, kind of like troll art. So I thought like, yeah, this is the internet. Like there's no rules. Although when there people try to enforce rules, some other group will try and break them. And after that, I gone on to school and we studied like Flash and stuff. So that was when everything started to open up. And I mean, of course, we all did that Flash tutorial making like that ball bounce or something. I think that was the start. And you start to realize like, oh, there's so much more things you can do with Flash. And yeah, from there are like Flash games and like even the meme community on like 4chan, the Flash bots before 4chan became really not good anymore. Yeah. I mean, let's not talk about that. But yeah, so I felt the same vibe coming from Hic Et Nunc at the start. So everything is like anything goes. If you can do it, just do it. And like for Flash, I remember like there were tutorials online, but internet was shit. So it's very hard to watch tutorials. So what you do is usually you download the Swift file and then you decompile and you try and like reverse engineer the whole file to find out how it works. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
For me, like the first experiences with the internet is basically I think it was just making my first email, and then learning how to make sites on like GeoCities, or was it like Angel Fire?
Oh yeah.
I think me and my sister we just made some like art. We're like, oh, we're spies and this is our website. We just like drew some art on like
Oh.
Photoshop. I think I was 11 or something, and we posted it on our website. My brothers made Dragon Ball Z fan sites. You know all those fan sites, right?
Yeah, on GeoCities.
Yeah.
Someone has a torrent that has all the GeoCities sites somewhere out there. Like you
And
can.
yeah, that's so interesting. And like from there, I think I went on to like play Neopets, and then because of that, you can make a guild or like make a page for your pet, and that's how I learned HTML. And you know, and our generation, we really explored like customizing what our online presence looks like on MySpace, right?
Yeah. There's also Blogspot. I don't know if you use that.
Yeah, I used Blogspot.
Yeah,
so
it was called Blogger or something, right?
Blogspot. So that time is also very creative. People just like blogging just because they like it, not because there was money in it or for fame. People would just go blog hopping and make friends because of blogs. So I think that we've lost kind of like that kind of blogging just for fun aspect. But I feel like with the blockchain, although we're not like blogging, but we're expressing ourselves just for fun on Hic Et Nunc, and it's not always about money. And then people discover each other through like the art and then what people collected, etc. And Rafael, can you talk about like what your first experiences with the internet in Brazil was like, and how you started getting into computer science and blockchain stuff?
Yes, this community spirit on the internet, I think I first experienced with online gaming also with Tibia. It was a game which was all pixel game, you know, really bad graphics. It was all pixels. You could run with really a bad graphic board, and it would work. And also like the experience of forums, like people would learn Photoshop and stuff. But yes, like since this algorithm culture, like in Instagram and Facebook, I think I lost a bit this feeling of community on the internet. But it's interesting actually to think. I was having a lot of thoughts in this. For example, when I like to imagine this also, like when we are using Instagram or Twitter, if we can play with the algorithms, right? How we can discover new things. And I think sometimes blockchain can be something like this, like another route for algorithms, or a chance for us to have open algorithms, like for us to have liberty to discover things, as everything on blockchain is public, you know. So a lot of what drove me actually to the computer science was to think critically these aspects, actually, how to find new information and how to assess culture, you know. And that's interesting because, for example, we can indeed find many artists and many art genres that for me, for example, I only had a brief I didn't know a lot about 3D modeling, for example, or about artificial intelligence, or about GAN libraries, and it opened up a world, you know. And I believe many people also had this moment of discovery, and it was something mostly related to the image, indeed, like to the media. You know, you are being presented to this style of art by experimenting indeed like it directly on their website, and someone decided to intervene, you know, in our paths and share this, and it's interesting like how people can have this, you know, can still have this expression, this power of expression, you know, to erupt and to transmit and to mint and to share an NFT, and this being shared on the feed, right, on the Hic Et Nunc. But yes, like this this openness, indeed it is it is part because of being accessible, I believe, and it's interesting to try to create, possibly it will grow still, like the Hic Et Nunc. I feel that we should try to support like more minorities, you know, for them to express themselves, and I feel that many people can try to write, not only, you know, can try to join this space also, like programming and smart contracts, for them to build their communities, for them to be empowered by this technology also. And but yes, I have been having some thoughts also, like how to create systems that are sort of aliens, you know, systems that are not yet, that does not exist yet. I think it's an interesting thing for designing systems, you know, or software, like how we can imagine things that that we feel that this world or this algorithm culture doesn't allow to you know, how we can bring expressions that are not that doesn't have a space in this algorithm culture, you know. Yeah. So I think it's interesting for us to try to think also, like how I'd like maybe to share this question with you all, if in your art, if you have this sort of open trying to communicate with this openness, you know, trying to express something that that was not expressed, or that is killed, you know, by hegemony, you know. I feel that sometimes it had a sort of sparkle in this sense on Hic Et Nunc, and I find it interesting for us to search this on our research, or, you know, on our crafts.
Yeah, definitely. I like how it's different than social media nowadays. There's a lot of, you know, censorship, and the algorithm, instead of helping artists, is kind of stifle people, right? Yeah. Because algorithms are biased by, you know, the set of the social media algorithms, I mean, are biased by whatever you code it for, and a lot of people feel that they're not seen, right? Mm-hmm. And I like that sites that are open, like Hic Et Nunc, give a chance for people like me to, you know, have a voice and share our perspectives with the world. I think even during the early days of the internet, you know, censorship wasn't like that heavy. It was like, I guess, you know, our parents would warn us about, dangers of the internet, and, it's a big, scary place, which, it's not untrue, but that's not all that it is. And I think the same can be said about, blockchain now, because you are responsible for everything you do, and it's all out there, and it is sometimes it is a big and scary place. I think we know that. So I think I want to ask, like, you guys, what's your opinions on, like, it also being a big and scary, wild place where anything is possible, which means anything good is possible, but also anything dangerous is also pretty possible. So if anyone would like to share their thoughts.
About something like starting a platform, one is that you first kind of believe that people are ultimately good, and that you kind of give them first trust that they will do the right thing, or you try to capture everything possible that can go wrong and kind of distrust everybody. And so distrust their talent or distrust their and so I believe that at Hic Et Nunc we started with people are ultimately good, most of them, so everybody can mint, everybody can there are no restrictions. And and we hope that if you start this way, like leaving your door open, that you will, most people who join will do this because they feel the same thing. And I think it worked. And so there is no gatekeepers, everybody can join. Of course, also it helps that it's actually affordable to join. But we did not start with the premise that, you cannot upload these types of files, or you cannot do this and this, but you can do everything. And and we hope that you behave, and that worked out. I mean, obviously we have copy minters, but I still feel that is kind of a price to pay for having the freedom that not everybody is kind of first kind of checked up totally. And and I believe that kind of if you start with a premise that you first trust in the good of people, that you also get something back, that you get those people who also appreciate that. And I still think it works. So and the typical thing is say okay, we can only do JPEGs, and you have to kind of prove that you are who you are and all this, and and that creates a different kind of community.
Yeah, agreed.
Of course, and also, I mean, there is always this thing that I think we were just very lucky with Hic Et Nunc that it worked out like this, because it could just, I believe always if you have something like this seed of an idea that for potential, where not many people are initially kind of believing in it or joining it, then of course the early decisions that you make kind of direct where it all goes. And we just I think it was just a matter of luck that the right people kind of sent the right messages and invited their friends, so that the core from which it all started was kind of had the right vibe from which it could grow. So, and I think this is not something you can really plan. This was really, just lucky coincidence.
Yeah, so, serendipitous.
That's why I believe that it cannot be copied. So you cannot just take the concept and now put it on a different chain. So I believe this is just something, we are very lucky and we should preserve that. So it's not something you can just recreate.
Yeah, with it's very much due to the community. I think because, as you said, the quote unquote right people came in and had the best kind of intentions going into it. Dominic, you were going to say something?
Yeah, so I have a slightly different sentiment to that.
Good.
So
it's good to have opposite views.
So I know we always put the faith that people are intrinsically good. It's a age-old debate. But for me, I know for one that when I'm on the internet, I love to troll people. Yeah.
He's a troll.
Yes.
Dominic's a troll.
Yeah. So okay, so what I'm getting at is also like Hic Et Nunc, the reason why I joined Hic Et Nunc was not to troll people, but it's like you say, it's luck. So gas fees are way too high on Ethereum, and I felt like if I wanted to make something, it has to be a JPEG or like a video file or something, and somehow it has to have like a lot of meaning, and like you have to appeal to this group and that group, and like so many things. But why can't I just make art or make something that I feel fun? So then I found Hic Et Nunc, and I just my first few pieces were okay, like stuff that I really wanted to make for a long time. Then I realized like, hey, since minting is really cheap, why don't I mint my friend's face and he has to buy it back from me. So I didn't mint one object. It was 12 objects. So I took his face and split it up into 12 objects. And I think there's like 50 editions. Yeah. He was quite pissed at me. He was like, dude, what? Why do you do that? Like,
It was
like,
just for lulz.
yeah, you didn't say no. Oh, and the funny thing was that okay, I didn't sell out, but someone bought my friend's face. I think they bought his nose or something. Yeah.
That's a very
and it
interesting
created-
experiment.
Yeah, it created like this argument on Twitter. Like someone was like some artist was forcing me to burn all my stuff. Like say, oh, you're just like not art. You're not an artist, and like you're just a in his words, I'm a trader, a charlatan, and a merchant. I was like, wow, who uses those words? I'm like, okay, that's cool, but I thought it was super funny. Yeah. I mean, I told my friend like if that whole his face sells out, I'll give him like half of the test that I got from him.
Is
Yeah.
it still available? Oh, now we can't buy now, right? So
I mean, it's still available. You can it's on my other account, which I think I forgot to link it. So I have an account for my artwork and an account for experimentation. So I started with that. Then I started to realize like there are other pockets of communities on Twitter that are doing like art just because it's fun. So another movement that caught my interest recently was the small movement. I'm not sure if you've seen it, but
Oh yeah, I saw it. Like the small NFT.
yeah, I've minted a few of those. It's on the same experimental account, right? But that one was super cool because I mean it's a 10 by 10 pixel. You can make it a GIF, you can make it a still, or you can even like push it to the limit and 10 by 10 by 10 voxel file, or maybe slightly smaller, but it has to be small. Yeah. And on their Discord, they were also talking about like how can small translate to music. So it's that kind of conversation that I feel like it's enabled by Hic Et Nunc because you already have that platform to experiment. You have that platform to play, and that's what I feel other platforms do not have. Like they do
The
not
room
create,
to play.
yeah, they do not create a space for us to play. Like you have to like make a certain style. I'm not like dissing anybody, but like you know, there's always that either astronauts or cubes or like 3D cyberpunk thing. You know, then like people will think like, oh, like this kind of work sells, so I need to make this kind of thing. But they forget the fact like that about having fun doing it. You know, like why does
and there's room to make mistakes.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
Minting is only like a few cents.
Yeah, and it's like it's not always so serious.
Yep.
Right? You have room to make mistakes. You have room to make like something just for lulz. You have room to make something that's highly experimental. So you know the limit is just with whatever you want to create. You can create. Yeah. Raphael, do you have any thoughts on like the dangerous side of the internet / blockchain?
It was indeed like the growth of Hic Et Nunc, of the community. Yeah, it was interesting, for example, indeed, to see the small gang also that you were mentioning. These small pixels. I thought of experimenting also. Sometimes I wish to give me more this liberty also to I hope that I will bring more art also to Hikitnook from my account. But yes, there are many things that for example, when we started, there was this ecological discussion, right, around NFTs, around energy consumption.
Yeah.
And this is something that I think it aligns a lot with some values that that I have, and it's good to see that many people have these values on their minds also. And that's a point. Like here, many people got around the community here from Brazil, for example, and there were indigenous groups that were meeting, you know, and that's something that I've never imagined. So there are many things that are beautiful with this openness. Indeed, like I really, it's a sort of solar punk dream, you know, in some moments. But indeed, like the openness, it is open for many people try to exploit the protocol, but sometimes there are many computational issues, like, and sometimes it is only computational, and sometimes it is a human factor also. But yes, I don't know, maybe it involves having patience, like computer systems, they grow, they evolve by this error and by trials also, like, but also human systems learn like that, I believe. So this openness is a way for us to try to, you know, see how we can adapt. Indeed, like we can see the vulnerabilities and learn from also, like, what are the human aspects that maybe we can work that we can try to intervene or influence, like.
I mean, I'll address the elephant in the room, which is like we recently got exploited, right? But the funny thing was like the exploiter joined us in Discord when it was like, you know, hi, you know, you I think you've noticed what I've been doing, blah, blah, blah. And somehow the chat with quote unquote hen exploiter turned into like a party, which is like, I've never seen something quite like that. It was so surreal. It's like, I don't think I would see that with like any other community who would, you know, even in such a trying time, would just like talk to whoever is causing the trouble, and then just like make jokes and you know, start start making like conversations with the person. And yeah, like even the person who exploited was welcomed into the community. And I think I saw that he someone was like, we were talking to them, and then someone asked, you know, I think I forgot to I don't know if anyone asked, but what are your preferred pronouns, right? And that just shows how wholesome the Hikitnook community is. And even with you know, the bad things that can happen because of how the community has been built. I really trust that, you know, we're going to be fine and we're going to really make a difference, you know?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, imagine if the same thing happened on like another platform. It'll be
I don't know. It
actually
will be a mess. Like
yeah,
even
definitely.
even after that, the guy was like, okay, I'll stop doing it now. So, and they minted something. It was like, oh, I feel so welcomed in the community. I think I'm gonna start minting something, and I think they did.
Yeah, nice.
So, I mean, it's open to everybody. Like
Yeah.
by being open to everybody, it really means that it's open to everybody. And we take. I like to say that my nickname for Hic Et Nunc users are hiccupers. I like to say that hiccupers like to party because we find every single reason to start like an event. It was like, oh, it's 100 days of Hic Et Nunc. Oh, yay, let's just start trading objects, give art for free, almost for free. And that was just like impromptu. And that would take some like organized company probably months to plan, right? And that just happened in minutes, and it spread like wildfire. So hiccupers really find any reason to party, even in the face of adversity, I would say.
I feel like Hic and Nung is like what social media should be, rather than a place governed by algorithms, back to Raphael's topic on algorithm. But it's more like where people can come together and just like socialize with one another, you know, like that community there, like you say, everything is a reason to party, everything is a reason to like, it's a cause for minting and creating a party and creating an event.
And then just fun. Giving art for free. It's like, oh yeah, for no reason, let's just give art for free.
Exactly.
It's like, so wholesome. I love that.
Even the John tribute stuff is really cool.
Like maybe some other artists would feel like, oh, you're copying my style, that's not cool, but John has been really, really accepting and like really encouraging to all the tributes of the windows.
There's a crypto voxel parcel that's a tribute. So it's like, oh, it's like from Hic and Nung, and it like traveled to CBM. Like, wow, that's cool, man.
I saw somewhere someone like from the outside was asking, who's the marketing person? They deserve a raise. And then I laughed at like, there's no marketing person. It's just artists. The users are the marketing people. So it's really, it's incredible. It's serendipitous, and it's something that we shouldn't take for granted.
Exactly.
I guess like it's the true decentralized nature, or a platform that's like more decentralized than the others, because I feel like at the same time a lot of ETH platforms have someone controlling everything, so there's less lawlessness. But at the same
in some sense, of course, the decentralization also causes some problems, right?
Definitely.
So, let's say that certain things only Raphael can do, and or like that we want certain new features, but then also like, how do we do it? We tried the hackathon, which was great, but now of course, like, where are all these things that we made, right? So that's the next challenge, right? So now we grew to this certain size, and now there are certain little things that, well, we should improve, right? Like communication, for example. I don't know, like we have the problem also that we are spread all around the world. So if an exploit happens kind of in Asia in the morning, we have to wait until Raphael wakes up somewhere like 8 hours later to kind of even do a tweet or something like that. So there are some little things that like probably should be improved. I mean, I don't want to handle everything, but exactly like the based on the decentralized nature, and that some people don't know that there is no boss. So I think communication is, we are doing it pretty well, but little things could be done better to account for the thing that, well, we are a 24-hour community in a way. So that, like, if a single person is only having a 12-hour day, though, so there are certain things falling under through the grid or so. Yes.
Yeah, it's rough around the edges. But yeah, I have hope in the community that people can, like, you know, build and improve. Yeah. So to wrap things up, I would like to ask you guys, what's your final thoughts? I think we can start with Raphael. Any final thoughts, parting words?
Yeah, I think that we should keep experimenting and, of course, be open to, you know, to mistakes and keep adapting. But I find it really inspiring, actually, all this media economy that's appeared, all this creative, you know, this, I see it indeed like an open algorithm. So I'm really open for us to try to keep experimenting and exchanging some thoughts and keep innovating if with NFTs, possibly, like where it can go, if this is gonna be like next social media, next way of transmitting information, you know. I would keep it open, these possibilities, for us to keep connecting with unknown collectives.
Thank you. Dominic?
I think, like, to wrap up, I think we should, as artists, we should continue to explore, experiment, have fun while making art. Don't let the thought of sales, like, bog us down. I mean, that's the best thing about Hic Et Nunc. I mean, if you sell, cool. Doesn't matter. You can just easily make another one. Yeah, I think we should, like, continue with that thought as we move on. So that way we can, like, as a whole community, the level of creativity becomes, like, really, really awesome.
Mario?
Well, I do think that we have something very, very precious with Hic Et Nunc, and that we should not take it for granted. So we definitely, it will not work by itself by just being cool. So, and I believe that right now we are actually at a kind of a critical point, especially like now that due to the exploit, the site is down, we have to wait until it's fixed. So, well, I know we will fix it, but never take it for granted that things that went great for 4 months will continue to do without just everybody kind of keeping the spirit and keep innovating and keep creating keep on partying. So, so right now I'm kind of between, like, enthusiastic and cautious that I hope we manage to kind of pull through this and come out kind of like even better and have all those things that we worked on, like, coming to the side and kind of, for phase 2, I would say. I think after this, we start the second phase where we hope to get all the best stuff that we have and add a little bit more better stuff.
Yeah. And I would like to close saying, the community is the best part about Hic Et Nunc, and, without the community, we wouldn't have anything. Like Mario said, hope we don't take it for granted. And yeah, I hope that, we can continue to build, continue to improve, and see where the future can take us, and, cooperate with everybody. Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for joining. And I guess we can say goodbye now.
Yeah. Yeah, thank
Bye.
you.
Hope you have fun with
Yeah.
the rest of CryptoArt Week Asia. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, great to meet.